To continue the case for the opposition, I look to Daniel Ogoloma, Regent's Park College.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends of democracy and friends of drama, and of course, Madam President, thank you for the honor of speaking in tonight's debate. I must say it's a historic and inspiring moment for me. Also, let me take this moment to congratulate you on making history in becoming the first Black woman to serve in this prestigious society as president. Well done. Now, on to the business for today. This House believes Trump has gone too far. But before we start passing judgment, let's ask, what does gone too far even mean? Too far to whom? The media, the woke left, or too far to people who are used to presidents who just have eloquent speeches for 8 years without action, like that former president from Chicago? Gone too far. The phrase itself is elastic, subjective, it's vague, and often used more as an emotional expression than a rigorous standard. It sounds like a phrase you use when your mates down the last pizza that you've already called dibs on. It implies that boundaries have been crossed, but which boundaries? Legal, political, democratic? Whose boundary is it? And perhaps most importantly, too far compared to what? Compared to precedent, to expectation, or simply politeness? Trump is going where he said he would, loudly, brazenly, and for the second time. He's not overreaching, he's delivering. So tonight, I'll show you that Trump is working within the constitutional boundaries, he's doing what he is democratically elected to do, and he's following through on the policies which will prove he hasn't gone too far, he's just gone as far as he said he would. Now, the proposition, of course, has continuously made the case that Trump is breaking the Constitution. They'll say he trampled democracy, ignored the courts, and is basically running the White House like it's a season 15 of The Apprentice. Here's the truth. Trump isn't breaking the Constitution. He's following it forcefully, but faithfully. Yes, he's signing executive orders faster than freshers sign up for societies they'll never attend. But is that illegal? No, it's efficient. Let's compare. Obama signed over 270 executive orders. Biden's crossed 160. Trump, he's simply operating just like every modern president trying to get things done in a gridlocked system. He's declared national emergencies. He's not the first. The National Emergency Act exists, and he used it. And if you don't like the law, blame Congress. Trump didn't write it. He just actually read it this time. And when the courts disagree with him, and yes, some did, he didn't ignore them, he didn't dissolve the judiciary or arrest any judge. And even in the case of Kilmar Albergo Gracia, yes, a deportation gone wrong, the system didn't collapse, the courts intervened, judges ruled, the administration was held accountable. That's not a president ignoring the law, that's the law working, even when the headlines get messy. Trump isn't going beyond the powers vested in him, as stated in Article 2 in the United States Constitution. He is using the powers of the presidency exactly as it is written, unapologetically, energetically, and in line with the mandate he was given. Trump isn't trying to abolish Congress. He isn't attempting to rewrite bills of rights, and he isn't throwing out separations of power to crown himself an emperor. He's operating within the framework, loudly and legally. Look, I know the Trump sequel rattled a few cages. It was like the reboot no one asked for that somehow still shattered the box office records. But this wasn't a political accident. It was a democratic choice. Over 60 million Americans heard the message, saw the chaos, weighed the controversy, and still said, let's make America great again. So rewind the tapes. His 2024 campaign was a checklist, not a poem. And guess what? He's ticking the boxes, and many Americans are winning. Young people. He's rolled out apprenticeships and STEM grants, created real jobs, not just LinkedIn dreams. As for the working class Americans, tax relief and energy infrastructure, more hours, more cash. The elderly, he's capped insulin prices in these first few weeks. Legal immigration, application queues cut nearly 30% thanks to digitization. So you tell me, if Trump's second term has already improved financial standings of students, workers, immigrants, and pensioners, who exactly has he gone too far against? Everybody's saying he's making big moves, he's shaking the foundations. I say, yes, that is the job. You don't hire Gordon Ramsay and complain when he's yelling in the kitchen. You don't re-elect Trump and act shocked when he's still Trump. Now, I know what my friends on the proposition will say, of course, but Trump supporters are uncomfortable with some of the things he's doing. And I say, welcome to bloody adulthood. I don't even agree with half of my own Netflix suggestions half of the time. No one gets a perfect match. And even Adele fans skip most parts of someone like you. Voters didn't pick a genie, they picked a leader. Someone who would, when handed the keys, drive, not spend the entire term adjusting the mirrors. It's messy, it's loud, but that's democracy. Let him do his job. Now, just imagine, you purchase a ticket to Jamaica, you board the flight, and mid-flight you experience turbulence, and the pilot tells you, guys, sit tight, because the route he needs to take might be ugly. It's a bumpy ride, but he still lands the plane safely at your destination. Will you say he went too far? No. I think you'd say, cheers, mate, rough ride, but we got there in the end. So let's be very clear. Trump isn't going too far. I just think we've grown used to politicians promising everything, delivering nothing, and calling it process. He, instead, is delivering what he promised, even if it gives CNN panic attacks every 45 minutes. Who gives a toss about Trump's tone and politeness, his language, or his tweeting? Trump is rude, they say. He's undiplomatic. He makes people uncomfortable. Well, so does honesty. So does follow-through. So does a president who doesn't apologize every 30 seconds like a British person walking through someone in a Tesco. Sorry. And yes, supporters of this motion will also say he's damaging America's international image. Look, America's image has been through worse. They once invaded the wrong country over bad intelligence and were still selected to host the Olympics like nothing happened. Trump being blunt isn't the collapse of diplomacy. It's just the end of pretending everyone likes each other in the G7 group chat. Here's the real threat to democracy. Politicians who talk a good game and do nothing, who run on dreams and govern on differing, who make hope a product but not a plan. Trump is certainly not that man. You may not like the method, but you can't deny the motion. Trump is moving. Friends, I'm not saying he's a political saint. He's not even polite, I know. But that's not the requirement to be president. If Trump unnerves you, maybe what we fear isn't overreach, it's accountability. So, I leave you with this. If democracy still means electing leaders and expecting them to do what they say they would, then Donald Trump hasn't gone too far. He's gone exactly as far as he is allowed to. Thank you all.